What's up, riders? Old Man Ronin here. Welcome back to the channel. I know, I'm doing it all wrong. Well, maybe I'm not. Stay tuned. You know, one of the first things that I did with the Royal Enfield Himalayan, and I didn't make a video about it because I thought it was kind of common knowledge, but apparently it's not. And that is setting up the rear suspension for single riders, and also, you know, we've been doing a lot of two-up on it lately, two-up riders as well. So we're going to go through the right and wrong way of setting up your rear suspension on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Well, one of the first things I did with the Royal Enfield Himalayan was to set up the suspension on the rear, because you know, each person is different, and it's one of the most important things you can do for not only a comfortable ride, but also off-road situations like that too. You want to make sure you have the right suspension so you're not bottoming out with a load or no load. And with us doing a lot of two-up riding on that, it was critically important to set up the suspension properly. Well, there's quite a few different adjustments on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. I think there's over 9, don't quote me on that. But what I did is I would go from the lowest setting to the highest setting to find out what's best for just myself, and also when I have a passenger and or a load, or passenger and a load. And if you follow the recommended manual, it's quite extensive. We're going to show you the proper way to set up the suspension on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. And here's the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a socket set with a 17mm socket, a 14mm wrench, a 17mm wrench, your C-wrench, and of course a torque wrench. And we'll get into the torque values when we get down to that. Well, I'm going to take you to the bike now and show you what you have to do. You've seen the tools that you need for it, but let's see exactly what you have to do to actually set up the suspension. You're going to notice that the adjustment on these are right here. Well, it's difficult, according to the manual, to get a wrench in there. So what we're going to have to do is loosen up this drop link. And to do that, we need to get some tools. Well, 2 things I forgot to add to the tool list are this: a hammer and a little block of wood. And the reason for that is I want to make sure that when I start working on this drop link, it doesn't fall down, that axle doesn't fall down. So I'm going to jam this little piece of wood up on under the tire and make sure that the bike is on the center stand. And of course I put the kickstand down too, so it'll get out of my way. But just what that's going to do is that's going to make sure that the swing arm doesn't drop down when I take the drop link off. On this side of the bike, it's a 14mm wrench. On the other side, it's a 17mm nut. So let's go take it off. Well, as you can see, that moved out of the way relatively easy, which gives us a lot of room to get in here with your C-wrench, which is pretty important. Well, once you get the drop link out of the way, you take this C-wrench. Now this is the one I use for my Harley Davidsons, and it'll fit in here really nice as well too. And you just lock it in that little one area there, and you just give it a twist either clockwise or counterclockwise, and right there I dropped it 1 notch, which is going to make it a little bit looser. Now if I want to go the other way, I just put it the opposite direction, and I've made it stiffer. Now, for Iron Lady and I run it 2 from the top, and that's a good place for us to ride when we're riding 2-up. Now if I have a heavier load, it gives me 2 more little spots to go higher, and of course it's going to lower it as the farther down I go this way. So that is the proper way to basically set your load or your shock for the different loads that you have. But we got to put it back together, and that's what we're going to do now. And if you've noticed, when I take the bolt to put it back in, since I have that tire braced up, that bolt just slides right in there, and it didn't drop or didn't fall, and it's ready to be tightened. As you can see, when I push the bolt through and get both side drop links on, I can start the nut with relatively ease. Let me see if I can get my hand in there. And let's put the wrench on the, like I say, the 14 millimeter on that side and the 17 on here. And then we're going to tighten it up pretty snug. And then we're going to get our torque wrench. Now, according to specs, it should be 50 Newton meters. And there we've got it tightened. Well, that's the proper way to do it. Now let's do the improper way. Go! I'm going to be walking around the shop here and pardon the lights, but to be honest with you, I very seldom ever use that technique, and the reason why is because I want to set the, basically the suspension up for when I'm actually riding. I may be out riding and I've got iron lady on the back, and we've got a little bit of wine in the panniers, and I need to set the suspension up a little bit. Well, I pretty much always carry my little C-wrench with me, and here's what I do. And sometimes when you're on the road, it's better just to hook your wrench in there and give it a little movement, a little at a time, and you'll be able to get it. Like I said, that way right there, we put it down a little bit, and you can go the opposite direction and put it back up to where you need it. But sometimes those little on-the-road modifications to the suspension are the way to do it. And you can do it. It is possible without taking your drop link off. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but that's how I've done it 99% of the time, because I don't know how my load's going to be until I'm actually riding. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this brief video on how to adjust the suspension on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now, you can adjust the sag by putting spacers in there as well too, but if you're going to do all that, you might as well just buy a brand new shock. Basically, that'll be probably a better choice than to start fooling with all the stuff beyond what's available on the OEM suspension shock. And like I say, being a monoshock, on a Harley, on a Sportster, you have to adjust both sides, but on this it's only one. And like I said, doing it the proper way is without a doubt the easiest to move the shock. The way that I do it on the road is a little bit more difficult, sometimes can be frustrating, but it is possible. That way, if you're getting a lot of, what do you call it, the bottoming out in the back with a heavy load, then you can adjust it up a little bit, give yourself a little bit more area to bounce on, if you know what I mean. But if you enjoyed the video and videos like this, please make sure you subscribe. Also, I really appreciate a few of the super thanks and the super chats, things like that. That really, really helps the channel. And of course, Patreon is a big thing too. Oh, and in the description below, you'll find the winners of the Suparee Headlight giveaway. Guys, if you're a winner, make sure you contact me. That way I can ship it to you. And it's open to, it was open to everybody worldwide, but you'll see the winners' names below in the, not in the comments, but in the description below. Well, if you really like the video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button, share and comment. You know I read all the comments and comment on as many as I possibly can. Until next time, guys, ride safe and keep her on two wheels, baby. It's easy, man.